All right, so we're diving into the iPhone 16 news today.
Okay.
You guys have been sending in a ton of messages about this article,
Mm-hmm.
educational article, why the iPhone 16 should scare you.
Yeah.
A catchy title. Got to give them that right.
Yeah.
But we'll see if it lives up to the hype.
Right.
But this is interesting because it's not just another phone launch.
Right.
This one feels different.
Yeah.
It's like a turning point in how much we're weaving tech into our everyday lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what we might be giving up for that convenience.
Yeah. I think the article really sums it up well when it kind of positions the iPhone 16 as less of a gadget and more like Apple's most powerful surveillance tool yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Strong words.
Mm-hmm.
But they're backing it up.
Right.
They're claiming the iPhone 16 isn't just about fancy new features.
Yeah. Right.
It's about how its AI uses all the data it's constantly gathering to build these incredibly detailed profiles of us.
Yeah, and that's where it gets, I think, unsettling. We're talking about eye tracking, advanced voice recognition.
Right.
It's not that those features are new in themselves,
Right.
but the way that the underlying AI leverages that data.
Okay.
For example, imagine the AI not just recognizing that you take pictures of food a lot,
Right.
but actually analyzing the types of food, the restaurants, maybe even like, I don't know, inferring your income level from that.
Yeah.
It's about painting this very specific picture of who you are, what you do, and potentially what makes you tick.
That's what that's one of the things that really caught my eye too, is
Yeah.
it's not just about the data itself,
Right.
but the AI analysis behind it, and they're putting it everywhere on this phone.
Yeah.
Like they were talking about the infrared sensor.
Right.
And I always just assumed that was for Face ID.
Right. Right.
But apparently it's constantly scanning to see if there's another iPhone user nearby.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get the potential for cool features there,
Yeah.
but it also feels like we're crossing a line into always-on monitoring territory.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like the article was saying, this line between like a cool new feature and constant surveillance, it's getting really blurry.
Yeah.
And it's not even just about what the phone like sees and hears,
Right.
but how it connects to the world around it.
Okay.
Like this whole always connected thing is really, I don't know,
Yeah.
unsettling for a lot of people. The article is saying the iPhone 16 can track your location even if you don't have Wi-Fi or a SIM card.
Yeah, that tripped me up too. I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
How
Is that even possible?
It sounds like a spy movie.
Really?
Like, how can it track you if it's not even using the usual networks?
Yeah. And that's where things get really interesting and kind of unnerving.
Okay.
They're talking about Bluetooth Low Energy, or BLE,
Okay.
and something called mesh networks.
Okay.
So imagine your phone is having this like silent conversation
Right.
with other Apple devices around it, even without internet access.
So it's like creating its own little network.
Yeah, exactly.
Using whatever's nearby.
Exactly. So your phone could be bouncing signals off a watch,
Right.
a pair of AirPods, even like a HomePod across the street.
Wow.
And relaying information back to Apple that way.
So it's like creating this map of your movements then.
Yeah.
Without you knowing it.
Pretty much.
Okay. So say I want to go off the grid, right? No Wi-Fi, phone on airplane mode.
Yeah.
Could it still be sending out a signal?
It's possible.
Right.
And then on top of that, we have the satellite communication capabilities of the iPhone 16.
Right, right.
So this just takes it to a whole other level.
Okay.
Because now your phone can completely bypass traditional networks entirely.
Right.
And communicate directly with satellites.
Wow.
So now we're talking about potential global tracking no matter where you are.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And especially in light of everything else we just talked about.
Right.
The AI, the data collection.
Right.
And this is where this article really digs into Apple's whole thing, right? Privacy is a fundamental human right.
Right. Privacy, privacy, privacy.
Yeah. And it's like, how does this phone square with that message at all?
Yeah, it's a big question that they're not shying away from at all.
Yeah.
They argue that while, okay, maybe Apple itself isn't directly accessing your data in this case,
Okay.
the AI on the phone is doing the analysis for them.
Right.
And that brings up a whole other set of concerns.
Right, because it's one thing if a company has your data.
Right.
But it's another thing if this algorithm that you have no control over is constantly interpreting it.
Exactly.
Like they don't need to see what's inside the black box if the black box is already telling them everything they want to know.
Exactly, precisely.
Yeah.
And one of, I think, the most concerning examples that they bring up is client-side scanning. So remember when Apple introduced AI scanning of photos to detect CSAM?
Right. Yeah, it was a huge deal.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
But the technology behind that, client-side scanning,
Right.
That can be used for way more than just catching, illegal content.
Yep.
So, for example, imagine applying for a loan and being rejected, not because of your credit score or anything like that, but because the AI on your phone flagged your browsing history as, indicating you're a financial risk.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
It can do that.
That's what the article is arguing, that this technology has the potential to go way beyond what Apple is currently claiming. We're talking about AI making judgments about our lives based on data we might not even realize we're sharing.
That's a little Orwellian.
Yeah, it's getting into creepy territory for sure.
Yeah, it is. And this brings us to maybe the most unsettling part of the whole article. Apple and China. Right. That's the big one. The article really seems to be honing in on. Like they're saying Apple is trying to serve two masters when it comes to privacy.
Yeah.
And they're making some pretty uncomfortable compromises along the way.
It's really complicated, yeah.
Yeah.
Apple wants to keep that image right. The protector of privacy, but
they're also operating in a country that has incredibly strict, internet censorship. Surveillance laws, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. So to do business in China, Apple has to play by their rules.
Which could include handing over user data.
Potentially, yeah. And the article even points out...
It's not just like a what-if scenario either.
Yeah.
They talk about people getting arrested in China for what seems like pretty harmless stuff.
Yeah.
Like someone posting a photo that the government didn't like.
It makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, like if they're willing to go along with it over there, what's stopping them from doing it in other countries if the government says, hey, we need this?
Yeah. Where does that line stop?
Exactly. And that's, I think, what the article is getting at. It's like, is privacy actually a right to Apple? Or is it something they're willing to compromise on if it makes them more money?
Because this isn't just about the iPhone 16 anymore,
exactly. This is about, where is technology headed? What kind of world are we creating here?
Exactly.
So, let's talk solutions, because it's a pretty bleak picture that they paint,
It is, yeah.
It feels like we're on this train that's just speeding along and we have no idea where it's going.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people feel that way, but it's not about just hitting the brakes on all this new tech. It's about being informed, concept. Asking those tough questions.
So like what?
So every time a new device comes out, new feature, you've got to look past the shiny marketing and think, what's the trade-off here? Is this convenience? Is it worth my privacy, potentially?
Yeah. Because once that data's out there,
it's out there.
That's it. You can't put it back in the box.
Exactly. And as we've seen with the iPhone 16, once these technologies are out there, they tend to stick around.
Yeah, they only get more powerful, more invasive.
Exactly.
This has been, I have to say, eye-opening for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, but...
It's a lot, but you're right. Knowledge is power here.
Exactly.
The more you understand how this stuff works, the better off you are.
You can make better choices.
Exactly. So thank you. This has been really, really helpful. And
of course, happy to help.
To everyone listening, thanks for joining us on another deep dive.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
We'll see you next time.